Patrons of a gay club in Orlando, Florida, got a new kind of hard object pumped into their ass the other day. There was a shooting. Sorry, couldn't resist that. If you were offended, that's what we call a joke, son. A joke. A joke, boy. Yeah, this Muslim guy, who else, went into a club and killed 50 people, including himself. There was some pastor, of course, who had to comment on it, and he said that there are now 50 fewer pedophiles in the world. Well, the FBI has been investigating. They're investigating the shooter's wife, and the pastor was wrong. The shooter was straight. There are only 49 fewer pedophiles in the world. It's a joke, son! It's a joke! Get used to it. But in all seriousness, it was a horrible thing to have happened. It was a terroristic attack on home soil. Of course, what is possibly an even greater tragedy is the fact that they're going to try to use this to take away guns. I'm not saying this was staged by the government to take away guns, but I'm not saying that. I mean, that recent shooting, the one that sparked the iPhone case, well, they were allowing reporters into the crime scene, like, that night. Contamination of evidence? I don't know if it was staged or not, but regardless of whether it was, we had a terrorist attack our people in our country, and they want to take away our means of self-defense. There is something genuinely fucked up in the brain of those liberal commie pinkos if they think it's a good idea to take away guns when we've got Muslims, who else, over here shooting up clubs and whatnot. You know, there was another similar thing happening in Texas. Nobody got killed except the bad guys. You remember that? It's probably been about a year now, but there was a Mohammed drawing contest or convention or something like that, and a couple of the Muslims got it in their heads they were going to go and shoot people who were drawing Mohammed, but they were shot by good citizens with guns. But that got very little media attention, probably because it's a good argument for people having guns. So Florida, they're planning on releasing some genetically modified mosquitoes, into the wild, and they're supposed to be malaria-proof and Zika-proof, if Zika is even a real thing. I mean, it's just the scare tactic of the year. First it was swine flu, then it was bird flu, then it was Ebola, and maybe 10 people died from the three of those things. I don't think anybody's died of Zika yet, and if they have, it hasn't been in America. What they didn't tell you about Ebola was that ordinary, it was big over in Africa. They don't have the same standard of hygiene that we have here. Ebola could not be spread. It wasn't an airborne virus, and I'm pretty sure even if someone with Ebola sneezed on a handrail or something, it would die pretty quickly. It dies pretty quickly when it hits the open air, and you could be in the same room with that was full of people with Ebola, and they could all be sneezing and everything. And I don't even think sneezing was a symptom of Ebola. And you could be in a whole room full of people that have it and never get it unless you got some of their bodily fluids on an open wound or something. But over here in America, we have Germax sanitary wipes or pads or whatever at the entrance to every grocery store. It never stood a chance. It never stood a chance over here. But over in Africa, they don't have the same standard of hygiene that we have here. Ebola can easily be avoided by simply washing your hands, especially if somebody sneezes on you or something. Just so easily avoided. Now, overall, I'm not extremely opposed to these genetically modified mosquitoes, but I think they need about 5 or 6 years of testing to make sure that it's not gonna fuck up the ecosystem. Remember what happened the last time we did something and genetically modified an insect? We brought over bees from Africa to produce more honey. It was in South America, and they found that if you introduced a few of these bees into a regular beehive, that the rest of them would become more aggressive and deadly and everything. And before you know it, we have Africanized or killer bees, and some idiot let them loose by accident, and now they're spreading. They're coming up to America from the point of origin. All it takes is like 1 or 2 of them to get into a hive of regular bees, and, you know, they say a few bad apples spoils the bunch, but it's more like a few bad bees turn the honey, even though honey is pretty much immortal. Like honey never expires, it never rots. Moisture content in it is too high for like mold, and the sugar content is too high for bacteria, something like that. You can actually rub honey on a cut or something instead of neosporin. Not neo. Sporin. And I've had a lot of coffee today. I'm not used to coffee, but I got coffee. Now, whether or not coffee is a type of tea, that's up for debate. I mean, those look like tea oats to me. I don't know if they're tea oats or not. They look like tea oats. I'm introducing a new segment to Dopplervision. I've been watching Frasier reruns on Netflix, so they're not really reruns. They're just, anyway, I thought that seems like a fun job, so I'm going to be giving advice. You guys ask me for advice, and I will give you advice to the best of my capabilities. You can either post comments and ask advice, or if you want, you can email askdoppler, all one word, at hotmail.com. Askdoppler at hotmail.com. You can email me your questions, and I will get your life back on track, guaranteed. Anyway, that's all for today. If you like my shit, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, tell all your friends about this channel, post the links to videos on Tumblr, Twitter, the Facebook, things like that. And just like to tell you guys, my Patreon is now monthly. Pay me like a month per month instead of per video, because I could see where there would be room for abuse if it was per video, so I just changed it to monthly, so that way like the funds will go to help me out financially, obviously. Probably eventually a more powerful computer for video editing and things of that nature. So yeah, subscribe, thumbs up, adios.